Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Um, Back home, as you can see, I have to go back to Nashville Friday, so that's 2 days from now. But I wanted to do a quick story time today and talk about the time where I almost died. Yeah, so let's get into that. All right. So I currently have a Prius. I love my Prius. My Prius is my baby. Before I had a Prius, I was driving my dad's car. My dad passed away 3 years ago. And when he passed away, I actually had my own car at the time, and her name was Donna. And Donna is a 1998, or either 98 or 99 Honda Accord. But obviously, I was driving my dad's car for a little bit of time, and I'll explain why. That's the whole story time. So, when I was driving Donna, the 1999 Honda Accord, I think it was a 99 to be honest. So, yeah, the 1999 Honda Accord, um, she was honestly a little piece of shit. Like, she needed a lot of work done that I couldn't afford to do because I was working at H&M during the time, part-time, so wasn't making a lot of money. But like I said, she had a lot of work that needed to be done. Like, she needed tires, she needed like work done on her in like interior, like engine itself. Like, she needed like a work done on that. She needed new brakes, like yada yada yada. Like, she had needed a lot of work, but I didn't have the money to do it, and my parents were like, "This is your car now. Like, we paid for the car, but you gotta take care of it." And I was just like, "Well, guess nothing's gonna be done to it because I can't fix it." So I didn't put any money into it. My parents paid for the new tires, thank God, because I went to Walmart and got an oil change, and they were like, "Look, your tires are rotting. You need new tires." Like, it's at the point where if you go over like a train track, like bad shit could happen. Like, and I was like, "Oof," like, okay. But then my parents were like, "Oh yeah, tires are probably gonna be like $400," and I was like, "That's like a month paycheck, like a month of paychecks. Like, that's the whole month. Like, not a 2 week paycheck. That's the month. That's not happening." So they paid for new tires. But then one day, my neighbors, they asked me to like pick their kids up from school and to like take them home and like to babysit them for like an hour and a half until their dad got home. So I was doing that for a little while for money. When I wasn't working, I'd pick up the little kids from school and take them home. So one day, like, I was picking them up from school and taking them home, and as we were entering my neighborhood, my car, I was like turning into the neighborhood, and I was coming up on the stop sign. And when you get to the stop sign, there's kind of like a little like you kind of have to like turn into the neighborhood like this. It's kind of winds. Like, you turn into the neighborhood and it kind of goes like this. So like, as I was turning, the wheel got really stiff, like really stiff. I was like turning, and then it was like, and I had to like really like yank it to like turn and to get to the stop sign. So I yanked it, and I was like low key freaking out because if I couldn't even like turn the car, like I'd be like running into somebody's mailbox, like running into their yard, and possibly like running into their house. So I like yanked it, got to the stop sign, braked, and the car like shut off. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm like sitting there, and the car's off, and it's crazy because the car is like still in drive and everything. And I'm just like, what is happening? So I put the car into park, turn the car off, and then turn it back on. And thank God the car like turned back on, and like I got them to their house, and then like parked my car in my house and then like walked over to them. And so after that, I was like, Mom, like, my car needs to be fixed. Like, I had to really like yank the wheel to even like drive. So she was like, okay, like you can drive your dad's car. So then I started driving my dad's car. I named her Raquel. So then I started driving Raquel. Well, Raquel was fine, but obviously my car needed to be fixed. So one day my mom like followed me up to the mechanic that her and my dad like to go to. She followed me up to the mechanic and we dropped my car off there so that he could like look at it for a while and try to figure out like why it did that, like why it like, yeah, like the car like I had to yank it, like the steering wheel got stiff, and then why like the car just shut off. And so we left it up there for like I want to say like a week. So we left it up there for like a week. And then he was like, look, like I can't find anything wrong with like why it would do that. Like I don't see anything wrong with that. But you do need new brakes, like badly. And so my mom was like, okay, like we're probably gonna get the brakes done somewhere else. So we didn't get like an invoice or anything for the fact that he did work there. Well, I like did some research on like why it wouldn't like why my car would just turn off, and then I found out that like Honda Accords had like a recall at one point for like kind of like the ignition like thing needing to be replaced. And so I was like, that could possibly be why like it did that. So I contacted Honda and the Honda that's in my area, and I like told them about the problem, and I made an appointment for them to like look at the car and see if that ever got like replaced. And when the appointment was like really early in the morning, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm like driving on the highway. Well, actually, let me backtrack. The day before, I was driving my car and I was like driving it to the mall, which is like 15 minutes away, to meet up with some friends. So I was driving it to the mall, and as I'm driving it, the car is kind of like shaking. And I'm just like, why is my car shaking? And the car, like the wheel was a little bit shaky, and my car was like making a weird noise. And so I was like, well, tomorrow I'm going up to Honda anyway, so they can look at it and like figure it out. It'll be okay. So I make it back home that night, fine. When I'm leaving my neighborhood to go to Honda the next morning, which like I said was really early in the morning during like rush hour traffic, I'm driving it, and as I'm driving it down up to the highway, the car is making that loud noise, like it's even louder now, and it's like really shaking, like legitimately, like I was driving, like holding the wheel's like shaking itself, and I'm shaking because of it. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is my car shaking like that? Well, I get onto the highway, and I'm like driving down the highway, and it's just continually like continue just getting worse. So it's like just continuing. Why do I keep trying to say that word even though I can't say it right now? It's just continuing to get worse. And the noise is getting louder, and I'm shaking, and the car is shaking. And I finally get to a point as I'm driving that I'm like, I just know, I'm like, I need to pull over. So I like was like, okay, I'm gonna pull over here. And so as I legitimately put on my turning signal and start the process of getting off the road, getting off this busy ass rush hour traffic road, like, because there's people, like, I'm driving slow as fuck already because I'm like, I don't want to die. And there's like cars like behind me, like going around me, speeding past me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get over it. And I start getting off the road. And as I start getting off the road, my whole left front wheel comes off my car. Like I'm just reimagining it now. Like my whole left wheel comes off my car, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the actual fuck? It like comes off the car and like goes down the highway. I just like as I'm trying to pull over, seeing my car wheel come off the car, and I'm like braking, and I'm just like, I narrowly avoid missing like a sign that's on the road. It was like a merging sign because I'm like getting off like right before another road like merges onto the highway. I'm like narrowly miss avoiding the sign because I'm only on 3 wheels now. I don't have a fourth wheel. I narrowly miss the sign and I get the car like stop, like finally to stop on the grass. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? Like I watched the wheel like narrowly avoid missing all these speeding cars like going to work, and then I just don't like keep track of it because I'm just like having a panic attack, like what the fuck is happening. So I get myself, actually I didn't even have a panic attack. I was like so um desensitized actually to it happening that I was just sitting there like my heart was beating, but I was just sitting there like I guess my body like kind of like just shut down, like to avoid having a panic attack, to avoid like being uber stressed. It just was just like, okay, like that just happened. Like it was bad. So I sit there for a second, and the first the first thing I call, I'm pretty sure the first thing I called was either my mom. I think I called my mom first. No, I didn't. I didn't call my mom. I called AAA first because my mom's a AAA member. I'm on there with her. So I called AAA first and was like, "Hey, my like whole front wheel came off my car. No, it wasn't my left wheel. It was my right wheel." I was like, "Hey, my whole right wheel came off my car." Because it was a passenger side, not the driver's side. So I was like, my right wheel came off my car, and I need somebody to tow me to like the nearest place. And they were like, okay, like we've got someone on the way. So I call them, and then I call my mom, and I'm like, hey mom, my wheel just came off my car. I'm fine though, like I'm good. I didn't hit anybody. Nobody hit me. Like we're okay. But I'm sitting on the side of the highway, and my right wheel just came off my car. And she's just like, okay, I'm on my way. And I was just like, okay, see you soon. So, and then I called Honda and I was like, hey, like, my wheel just came off my car. I'm not gonna make it to the appointment. So yeah. So I'm sitting there in my car, like freaking out. And finally, like AAA comes, and this guy comes, and he's just like asking me, like, am I okay? Like, do I need anything? He gets me up into the car, like into the truck, like the tow truck. And as we're sitting there on the side of the road, like the police come, and the police officer comes and is like asking me, am I okay? And he was like, yeah, somebody called me. They thought you were in an accident. You didn't hit anybody, right? And I was like, no, I didn't hit anybody. Nobody hit me. Like, I'm fine. Like, my wheel just came off my car. And he was just like, okay, do you know where the wheel is? And I was like, no. And he was like, all right, I'm going to go look for it. So he like looked for my tire, but he couldn't find it. So that was fine. And then like, so I get into the tow truck, and he like asked me where I want to be my car to be towed, because they can only go to places that are, I guess, with AAA, like their AAA services or whatever. So we end up going to Goodyear and get my car checked out there. And so like my mom comes, she like meets us there, and she meets us at Goodyear, I think. Yes, she meets us at Goodyear. And so like while I'm in this tow truck with the guy, he's like, you know, asking me questions, asking me how I am. And I'm just sitting there like in shock, like just like not really wanting to have a full conversation, just kind of just wanting to like breathe and just know like I'm fine, I'm not injured, like I'm good, my body's still intact. And this guy's like, you know, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like I know that like you're in shock. And I'm just like, yeah. And he's like, you know, but I'm kind of like glad it happened because at least I got to meet you. And I was just like, what? Like, what? He that. Like, I almost died. Like, I really seriously could have been injured for real. Like, by the grace of God and my guardian angels, like, I'm okay. And you're sitting here trying to flirt with me. Why? Why do men do this? Why do men do this? I don't understand. So he's like, saying that I'm beautiful and stuff like that. And I'm just like, thanks. No, leave me alone. Like, why? So we get to Goodyear and he gives me his card and he's like, if you need anything, I mean anything, let me know. And I was just like, I won't need anything, but thank you so much. So, yeah. Sorry, Luna is getting in here. Luna, I'm almost done telling my story. Can you please? Okay. But, so anyway, I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. But yeah, so we get to Goodyear. They look at my car and everything. They could have fixed it for a really expensive ass price, but my mom's like, nah, like, let's try to take it back to that mechanic that obviously fucked up and didn't put the bolts like on my tire well enough. By the way, I forgot to tell you, as when we got on the highway in the tow truck, we had to like turn around and like go on the other side of the highway to get to Goodyear. But as we were driving past, like, we saw my tire on the other side of the fucking highway. It literally jumped the median, went through more traffic, and like managed to get on the other side of the highway. So by the grace of God, we found my tire, my new freaking tires. So God, I'm just like kind of reliving it. Like, I've kind of like pushed that memory back. I don't remember, like, I didn't remember like how affected I was, because yeah, I'll go into the story. But like, yeah, after all this happened, by the way, I went to work like later on that evening and I dealt with my shit there. So, but anyway, so we went to the mechanic that didn't tighten up the bolts tight enough on my car, which resulted in the fact of my wheel coming off. And he, like, despite the fact that we didn't have an invoice or anything from the fact that he even looked at my car, he like recognized, like, thankfully recognized that was his fault and fixed my car for free. So put the wheel back on, like, fixed it up, everything, because even like and now I'm trying to remember if it really was the passenger side or not. Either way, one of the front wheels came off, because I'm like, going back in my mind, it could have been like the driver's side. Regardless, the wheel came off my fucking car. So yeah, he fixed it up, because either side of the wheel of the car that it was on, like when the tire came off of the car, like it pulled the I guess like the metal, whatever material that the shell of the car is, it pulled it back, like coming off, like pulled that back, and like so it was like sticking out on the side. I wish I still had pictures, but it was like sticking out on the side and everything. And yeah, it looked bad. Like, it looked really bad. And it wasn't just the fact that the wheel came off, like the shell of the car was fucked up too. So he fixed that for free, like fixed the wheel and everything. And thankfully, like, my car was like fine in that aspect. Still had to get all the other work done on the car, but the neighbor because after that happened, like, I stopped driving that car and I just started driving like Raquel. Like, I was like, I'm traumatized. Like, I was trying to think of the right word. I'm traumatized from driving that car a little bit, and I was just like, I don't want to drive it anymore. So I just left it on the side of my road, and my neighbor, the dad of the kids that I would babysit, he like recognized that like I stopped driving that car and that had been sitting on the side of the road for a while, and he was like, asking us like what work it needed done, and my mom and I told him that the brakes needed to be done and there was other issues, and he was like, he works on airplanes and stuff. He's an airplane mechanic, so he offered to do like a lot of work on the car for like free, as long as we bought the parts. So that was like such a blessing. But yeah, I don't drive that car anymore. I have my little Prius now. My mom drives Raquel, and then my sister drives Donna now. So, but yeah, that's my story time, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, or if you've had any other near-death experiences. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.